Hello students, I'm Himani Sharma, your UGC NET educator. In this new YouTube video, we are going to talk about something more important from the paper 1 aspect, that is quantitative and qualitative research. We all know there are different types of research which are there when we read Research Aptitude unit, right? And we all know that we want to conduct research somewhere or the other in our lives later on when we pursue our PhDs. Of course, right? But these two types that I have brought forth in today, these two types have something which the other types of research usually uses, right? They use some kind of data that is quantitative or qualitative in nature as well. Same is the case here with the two types that we are going to discuss today. So first of all, we all should be knowing in generic terms, what do we mean by quantitative and qualitative? Right? First is, look at this image right now. This image is showing us that this person is curious, right? And doing certain things, measuring certain things through the mathematical or scientific stance. But here, he is more concerned with something liking, right? Liking something or celebrating something, winning a trophy, being happy and all, right? So here, qualitative means we are concerned with qualities, we are concerned with opinions and beliefs. So if this person is happy, why is he happy? He can let me know. Right? So that thing will go on in a further discussion, which will of course be delve deep into things, right? But this will be quantitative, on the other hand, will be superficial. Come back here again and see this image again. Qualitative focuses on subjective information like user behavior, emotions and experiences. It tries to ask why. Do you like going to gym? You are provided with options, yes or no. These two options come handy here, where you are just provided with the choice. You cannot choose and go beyond these two things and create a third option. But here, if I ask you, you tell me, yes, I like going to gym. Then I ask you a further question, why do you like going to gym? What motivates you to go into the gym? So that why question, the reason that you are going to provide me will be a little elaborative one than this yes and no. So of course, in qualitative, we deal with subjective things. In the quantitative, we deal with objective things, which means that we are provided with certain options that we are supposed to stick to. Let us just take UGC question paper for an example, and you all see that in UGC NET, you are provided with these options. Now, if I say that A, B, C, D, you can only choose one amongst the four, you cannot create the fifth one, right? Of course, that is what is objective here. But if you are asked in your masters and all, you all must have written certain answers which are subjective. Long, length, right? You all have written in-depth questions, answers. That is subjective information, right? Quantitative versus qualitative research. Now, when collecting data and analyzing data, quantitative research deals with numbers and stats. So now you know anything which can be measured will be quantitative. So quantitative research will be measurable. On the other hand, if we talk about qualitative research, deals with words and meanings, which means that this kind of research, qualitative research, will be non-measurable. Because when I say, why are you happy? Or are you happy? How much happy are you? Will you guys be able to tell me how happy are you? If you say, I'm so happy, can you measure it in, measurable quantities? You cannot do that, right? That is where the qualitative thing comes into play. That is what is associated with words and meanings, because they cannot be measured properly. You cannot measure someone's opinion of you. If someone thinks you are bad, how much bad are you in their book, right? That is something which cannot be measured ever. Now comes quantitative research, expressed in numbers, graphs, hence it is measurable. You can measure how many students are present in a class, right? Used to test or confirm theories and assumptions. It is there in quantitative research. It is deductive approach which is used because you are testing what has already been established. Establishes generalizable facts about a topic. We'll be talking about it through the usage of an example as well. There are certain methods. You all need to note down these methods of quantitative research because they usually ask in the question paper which amongst the following are not the quantitative method. So you must be knowing the qualitative concept and quantitative, which one amongst them are quantitative and qualitative. Experiments. In experiments, you observe certain things, you measure certain things, you put them under certain conditions. That is what is known as an experiment. So, of course, it is measurable. Observations recorded as numbers. That can also be measured. Surveys with close-ended question. Now, what is close-ended question? Gave you the example already that you are provided with the options already and you are supposed to choose amongst those options and not create your own. That is what we mean by close-endedness, right? At risk for research biases. Here as well, you can be a little biased even if this approach, this research seems to be a little bit based on the objective part. You can conduct some kind of biasness here as well. Talking about qualitative research expressed in words. I gave you the example of being happy, right? I gave you the example of being sad, right? So, all of these things are expressed through words, but you cannot know how much, correct? Concepts, thoughts or experiences. Your experiences of, going in a museum. You can go on explaining me those things. That is subjectivity which comes into play there, right? So, with subjectivity comes in-depth insights because we are indulging in in-depth conversations. Common qualitative methods, again, note down these very things as well. Interviews with open-ended questions. Open-ended questions here mean that if I am taking your interview and I ask you, what does being, disciplined mean? In your dictionary, what does the word discipline mean? So you can go on telling me that being at time, on work, etc., being punctual, representing your team at time, etc., so on and so forth. You can tell me different things and I can ask you, we can delve deep into different questions from those answers as well, right? So those are known as open-ended questions which are subjective in nature. Observations described in words. In the quantitative parts, observations which are described in numbers are considered to be quantitative research. Here, observations which are there described in words, they are coming under the qualitative research part. Literature reviews that explore concepts and theories. Literature reviews, if you would have read a book, what is your opinion on that very particular book? Here as well, we also have certain research biases. Now come here and see these very things that I want you all to, right? Focus. What is the focus of these two types of research? In qualitative research, which is subjective in nature, exploring ideas, formulating hypotheses and theories, which means that this qualitative research is inductive in nature. Write these pointer down, of course, right? And quantitative research is going to test, hence it is deductive. The theory of gravity, again, I am going to give you an example of, right? So you are going to check if you make a chair fall from third floor, how fast will it fall on the ground, right? So you are testing it and it is already established. But here, quantitative research, which was testing hypothesis, deductive in nature, qualitative research will try to establish, it will provide something new on the table. So it will give you something new. Analysis, summarizing, categorizing, interpreting. You can interpret, a piece of work, literature piece. Here, maths and stats are used in quantitative research. Words mein it is expressed, The qualitative research, of course, because it is subjective in nature, it is opinion based, you are interpreting certain things. If I make a tree here, right, and I ask you all to just imagine what color would be or what is this a tree of. You all might be imagining, some of you will be saying that orange ka ped, some of you will be saying apple tree, so on and so forth. So that is your opinion. Hence, it is expressed in words and it is your interpretation which is coming into play. But in quantitative part, numbers, graphs, tables, etc., anything related to stats which is measurable, that is used. Few respondents are here because this research, qualitative research, is supposed to be so rigorous, let's just say, because of the fact that you are delving deep into knowing people's opinions in subjective matter. But here, in quantitative research, you can choose respondents in a larger number because you might be having stats, you might be having certain tools which can help you in some kind of research. Open-ended, told you subjective. Close-ended or multiple choice, gave you the example of UGC NET question paper and the options which are available. Hence, these are also, why are they known as objective questions? Because they are having one option as correct, which is universally correct for all, right? Characterized by you understanding certain things, some kind of context which is there. But quantitative research is characterized by testing a theory, measuring objectivity, replicability. If with the chair that I was doing the experiment, if I make, let's just say, anything fall on the ground from third floor, from a chair I move to a table, right? I throw a table from third floor, it will also fall. So replicability is also there. Quantitative data collection methods include surveys like list of closed or multiple choice questions that are distributed as a sample. So of course, you can send surveys to people. Some of you must have participated in one or two surveys which your friend must have created, right? So in surveys, you are going to answer the questions which are provided to you with certain questions, correct? Experiments, any experiment which is conducted in the lab. Let's just say for a new medicine, for a new drug which is there and an experiment is being conducted. Observations, natural environment where variables can't be controlled, but this one expressed in, this observation expressed in numbers should be the case if we are talking about quantitative data collection method, right? Next is the research question which is quantitative in nature, which is measurable. How satisfied are the students with their study? So this is the question that you have framed for your research. Now you want to know how satisfied are they. So there are 300 students in your university and you ask them questions such as, on a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied are you with your professors? And the average that they come up with is 4.4. That they are, out of 5, they are 4.4% or whatever the scale was measuring, they are satisfied with this much number with their professors. So where 1 is most probably the lowest and 5th is the best, the highest. Correct? So from one extreme to the other, it is going to measure their opinion in a quantitative sense. Qualitative data collection methods include certain things which can be in-depth, of course, which will be in-depth in nature. Questions verbally, open-ended question asked verbally to respondents. How have you been feeling after taking the medicine? I've been feeling well, my weight has reduced, my BP level, etc. My sugar levels are okay now, right? So all these things with the respondent is telling you all about in association with the medicine that he or she was provided with. That is giving you an idea because they are describing basically what they have gone through in a in-depth manner, in an in-depth manner. Next comes focus groups. Among a group of people about a topic to gather opinions that can be used for further research. So let us just say, what do you think about artificial intelligence which is coming into play in these days, right? So there might be different people having different opinions Some of them will be in the favor, some of them will be, the ones which are against AI. Ethnography. Participating in a community or by your own self or organization for an extended period of time to closely observe culture and behavior. Now, this observation that we call is not in numbers but in words. That I lived with the Igbo community, right, of Africa, and I tried to observe them. This is their eating habits. They also perform certain rituals. I will try to describe those very rituals, right? That is ethnography. Then literature reviews, already talked about. Published work, you are going to give your review about that very thing. How satisfied are students with the studies? This was the question which we asked in the quantitative part, but how are we going to judge it on the qualitative basis? You conduct in-depth interview with 15 students and ask them open-ended questions. So 300 people pay, you already have done the research which was based, right? And quantitative mein we have now 4.4 scaling which is there, but now you choose another 15 students to ask them open-ended questions about certain things like how satisfied are you with your studies? What is the most positive aspect of your study program? Which subject do you like? Which is your favorite? Who is your favorite professor? What can be done to improve the study program? These very things will be told to you in detail by those 15 students, right? Based on the answers you get to ask, and you can ask follow-up questions to clarify things. Who's your favorite professor? So they might give a name, professor, Claudia is my favorite professor. Now, why Claudia is your favorite professor? How does she teach? So this is follow-up questions are there. You transcribe all interviews using transcription software and try to find commonalities and patterns which are there. So you like that she teaches through flashcards. The second student also says that I love that when she teaches with flashcards, so on and so forth. So you are trying to find out the commonalities and patterns which are associated there, and which is the professor who you do not like, right? When to use what? This is a question that most of us have in our mind when conducting any kind of research, that if I want to have something, gather something in a measurable quantity, what to use? What kind of research shall I be using? Right? Use quantitative research if you want to confirm or test something, a theory or hypothesis. Right? Gave you the example of gravity. Another example would be again the Pythagoras theorem. You can test this theorem with any sum of yours which is in the maths ki kitab, right? Use qualitative research if you want to understand something. You want to understand the concept of empiricism. Right? So you will be reading about it in detail, you will be gathering data about it in detail. Empiricism is what? Experience based only. You can also ask people about their experiences, correct? So again, quantitative, qualitative, let me increase the size a little bit for you all so that it is clear, right? Come back here. Definition. Quantitative means we know data can be numerically analyzed, hence it can be measured. Qualitative, non-numerical, hence it cannot be measured, but it includes quality, opinions of feelings of someone. Right? How do you feel when you lost? How did you feel when you lost your grandmother? So those feelings which are expressed by a person in words is qualitative in nature, because it is describing the feelings that he or she has got. Right? Collection methods: online, in-person, phone interviews, surveys, etc. Right? With close-ended questions. But in qualitative research, open-ended questions, open-ended surveys will be there. Best for drawing conclusions through larger scale studies. And in quantitative only, we can conduct large scale studies, because most of the time stats and maths will be performed by some kind of software. But here, the computer will not be able to understand the feelings of the human, so you are supposed to understand, interpret the data manually. Hence, herein you will be having small population, smaller groups. Correct? Analysis, statistical is here. Manual analysis, already gave you the example that you are going to talk about, you are going to observe, interpret certain things which are written on a piece of paper. Did you buy ice cream? This is an example here. Yes or no? This is in objective format, right? Close-ended question. Why did you buy ice cream today? Just because I felt like I was feeling happy. That is why I bought ice cream for myself, right? That is what is qualitative in nature. Data example, 67% of respondents bought ice cream today. So you have gotten your sample, you will know that 67% of them bought ice creams. I saw ice cream on sale by checkout and it was an impulse buy. I did not want to buy it, but it was on sale, so I bought it. I wanted to treat myself, hence I got myself an ice cream. Now, certain questions as always for you all. Now, I hope you understand the differentiation between quantitative and qualitative. It is pretty clear for all of us. Statement 1 says, integration of qualitative and quantitative research methods, which means mixing them both together, is a trend accepted in social science research. Whereas statement 2 says, some critics say that research methods have fixed epistemological, that is knowledge based, and ontological, that is reality based implications, and as such mixed methods are not desirable. What do you think is the correct answer here from the options given here? The answer is option A, that both the statements are true. Now, integration of quantitative and qualitative, of course, they are a trend which the social research people, they use in their kind of research, because they are asking people questions. They want to know how many of people are in the favor of dowry in India. They want to gather the data which is quantitative in nature, but for what reason are they still interested in the year 2023 for getting dowry? That is a qualitative question which is there. So we can have the amalgamation of both. Second statement, that some critics are of the view that mixing these very methods, right? They say that mixing methods, mixing what methods? Quantitative, qualitative, they might have some kind of negative implication. Now, why do I say that? Yes, this statement is true, because at times one method, one qualitative method, right, can hamper what I wanted to measure through the quantitative. So you need to be really careful when choosing or mixing these very methods. So some critics, not all of them, some of them are of this very view. Next question, again statement based. If we are interested in a world view of members of a certain social group, a qualitative research strategy that is sensitive to how participants interpret their social world may be preferable. This is statement 1. Statement 2 says, if a researcher is interested in a topic on which little or no research has been done in the past, quantitative research may be easy to employ because there is little prior literature from which to draw leads. What do you think is the answer here from these very two statements? The answer is, these are the options, of course. The answer to this question is option C, that is statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. So this one is true, this one is false. Why do I say that statement 2 is false here? Because of the fact that any type of research, be it quantitative, qualitative, analytic, descriptive, exploratory, right? Any kind of research that you talk about will have to have some kind of literature review. And this statement says that a person who knows that he is doing some research for the very first time knows that no literature review is available, so he should go without it. Literature review is an important part of any research per se. So you need to do literature research, literary research, right? That means I am saying here that you need to have some kind of literary review there, literature review there, be it any type of research which is there, right? So I hope through this video the concepts about quantitative, which is measurable, anything which is measurable, and qualitative, which is not measurable, like someone's attitudes, opinions, belief, all these descriptions through the part of quantitative versus qualitative research, it is clear for you all. Correct? I will be bringing forth certain new video for you all. Till then, you all stay tuned. Thank you so much and have a good day.